Okay. So again, as I mentioned in today's webinar, we're really going to be talking about how you can use Financial Sense to keep your firm organized at scale. Like we talked about, as you grow, it becomes harder to stay organized. You get more clients, you have more team members, and all this information starts getting stored in all these places where you or other team members don't know where it is. And it makes it really difficult for your team to get the information that they need to get their work done, which kills firm productivity. And a lot of this is because all this information is being stored on random files. It's being stored, lost in people's emails. It's being stored on someone's desk or a sticky note somewhere. So it's not easily accessible. So really quick, drop it in the chat. I would love to hear, have people struggled with this, or are they struggling with it? Do they feel like they could be better organized? Are they having trouble? Are you having trouble finding the information you need sometimes? Or is your team having trouble finding the information they need to get their work done? And I would also be really interested in seeing in the chat is, what are you using to store a lot of this information out right now? Where are you storing client contact information, client documents, meeting notes? Are they being stored in spreadsheets? Are they being stored on, just random notepads? Are they being stored in a physical folder or a folder somewhere on your computer? A lot of people like to use OneDrive. I know a lot of people also like to use OneNote or a lot of those systems. And that is a big challenge too, is getting your team to use all the same resources, right? Different cloud locations. A lot of people use Google Drive is what I'm seeing, Box and Teams. So what we have found, the best way to solve this problem is to create a single source of truth, right? The reason everything becomes so disorganized and it creates this disorganized chaos as you grow is because you have all these different ways to store different types of information. Meeting notes are going in a OneNote. A lot of documents are going into some folder, physical folder, or some online folder. Other information is being stored in spreadsheets and or in Word documents or Google Docs. Like it makes it very difficult for people on the team to know where to put specific types of information or where to find specific types of information, which really makes it hard for your team to adopt these solutions because it just creates a lot of friction. So the big solution to this is creating a single source of truth. One place that your team goes to store and access all types of information. You're not using 10 different systems to store all the different types of information for your clients and your work. So what do I mean by this, right? We break this down by two types of information. There's your work information and your client information. Work information is information related to specific work for clients. So all your, let's say your monthly bookkeeping work, you want all those monthly bookkeeping documents from the clients, the team communication around the monthly bookkeeping, emails, client information, checklists, all that information in one place, organized in that place. Client information, contact information, passwords to their apps, conversations, meeting notes, all that information stored in one place. But then marrying those two together so they're integrated, so you and your team have a single place to access the work and client information, making it easy to stay organized as you scale. And this makes it easier it's more likely for your team to adopt these solutions because it's more simplistic. So today I'm going to show you how you can use Financial Sense to create that single source of truth. Whether you're a current user, this is going to be a great platform to better understand some of these capabilities and these features to keep your firm organized. Or you're not a user and you're looking for a way to solve this problem, this is going to be a very helpful webinar for you to see how you can actually do that. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. And before I get in to actually showing you how to actually organize all this information in Financial Sense, I'm going to give you a quick 2-minute overview of what Financial Sense does for the people that may not use this system already. And feel free to drop any questions along the way inside the chat. So Financial Sense is essentially a work management tool specifically built for accountants. We help accounting firms get work done. And we do this with 3 ways. We give you the visibility to track the status of client work and to keep things from slipping through the cracks. We give you the collaboration, so you and your team can collaborate on work in a single place, share information, and stay in the loop. And then we give you the organization. So we help you stay organized at scale so your team can access the actual information they need quickly to get their work done. And the big thesis behind Financial Sense, what we really focus on is ease of use. We try to make all of this very easy to use so you can quickly implement Financial Sense. You don't have to spend time training your team, and you get better adoption by your team, which is very important. So as you can see here, really quickly, this is where you get the visibility. This is the first thing you see in Financial Sense. This is your workflow dashboard. This is where you track the status of work, who's working on what, and make sure you're hitting your deadlines. As you can see all your client work that's going on across the firm, the status it's in, progress to being completed, who is working on what in your team, and when it's due. So this is what's giving you that visibility so nothing slips through the cracks. Here, you have filters where you can run custom reports to get deeper, more granular visibility. So as you can see here, you can search for types of work. I could say, I want to see all my monthly bookkeeping work that's going on right now. And you can go deeper, right? So maybe I want to see all my monthly bookkeeping work that is in review. So in that status, and that is maybe due this month, that is assigned to me. And it's going to give you that report to show you work that matches that criteria. You can filter by status, by work type, by due date, team member, client, types of clients, all these filters you can use to get that granular reporting. So that's how we give you the visibility. Now that you have a quick overview of Financial Sense and I've laid the foundation, let's get into actually how you can stay organized in Financial Sense and what are the best practices for doing that. So from this view, you can see all your work, but let's actually dig into the work, where the work actually happens. So if you click a project, this is where the work happens in Financial Sense. Now, in Financial Sense, we believe that it's essential to store all the information about the work on the work. So everything is where the work actually happens. So your team can actually access the information they need within a single click to get their work done. Because there's two things that go into getting work done. It's knowing what to do and how to do it, and having that information to actually do it. So we do this by organizing it in one place. Instead of it being organized on sticky notes, spreadsheets, Word documents, a folder somewhere. So inside this work, so this monthly bookkeeping work that we do for our client, Adeline Collins, the first thing you'll see is your checklist process. This is where you can store all the processes of how to actually complete that work for that monthly bookkeeping work. Your team will be able to see all the steps and know exactly what to follow. They can click in to see other details and information like descriptions, subtasks, and comments. And this can be customized and set up any way you want. Client tasks. So a big part of getting your work done is getting information from clients, especially monthly bookkeeping. Every month you request the same information over and over again, and you can't get that work done until you get that information from your client. But then when you get that information from your client, maybe they sent it to you via email, or it's in some portal somewhere. Your team has to be able to get access to that portal. They have to wait on you to forward them that information. In Financial Sense, you can automate the client data collection process. So you can automatically send a request list every month to your client on a certain date and send reminders to them via text and email every couple of days to remind them to complete this information. So not only do you get that information faster, but when they upload it, it gets stored right here on the work. That goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Everything about the work needs to be stored on the work. So as a client uploads a document, it would show up here. If they ask you questions or share additional information in context, you would see that context here in the chat or here. So you and your team can see all those documents they need from the client right here to get their work done, instead of it being lost in someone's email somewhere or in a folder somewhere they don't know where it is. You also have team communication, right? So we still recommend firms use Slack to talk about general firm information. But if it's work related, it should happen on the work. So your team can ask questions. So you can easily tag team members in comments, ask questions, get information from them, and they can respond here. So this is great too. Like if you leave and come back, you can see the context and the audit trail of all the conversations and have that information to know where everything stands and stay in the loop. You have documents for the work. So if there's information from the clients that's important, you can add those documents or reports on the work so your team has access to it. You can also set work to recur and download it from here, or set the projects to recur with the documents to recur with the projects. One big piece is also email. So firms have a lot of emails, right? You get hundreds of emails every day from your clients. Keeping up with those emails is difficult, but organizing those emails is even harder. So let's say a client sends you an email related to this work. You can easily tag that email to the work, so your team can see those emails and those conversations with the client when they're doing the work. So if they click here, they can see all the emails to and from the client that are related to this work. So they can view the email, they can download those documents, they can ask the client additional questions, and it keeps those emails organized, making it easier to have all the context they need. So I'm going to show you really quickly how you actually do this. If you don't use the email integration in Financial Sense yet, you should. The email integration is this inbox feature here. We basically integrate with Gmail and Outlook, so you can have Gmail and Outlook inside Financial Sense. It's a two-way sync. So if you delete, read, or archive an email, it happens in both systems. You can use Outlook when you want and Financial Sense when you want, and it'll update both systems, keeping them in sync. But let's say you get an email from a client, like this is an email that's related to that monthly bookkeeping work, right? You can easily pin it to the work. So you can click that, you can like open the email, read it, you can pin it. So I can say, okay, this is for our monthly bookkeeping work, and pin it. And that work will now, email will now be on that work. You can also create work from the emails as well. So that's how you do that in a nutshell. And I'll be sure to send over some information after the webinar that has more details on how you can actually set all this up. But organizing emails on the work is vital to keeping your team in the loop and giving them the information, because these emails get locked in the different inboxes. So the goal here, again, is to keep all this information in one place, whether it's client communication or client documents that they send you, team communication, documents related to the work, email conversations, everything your team needs to get their work done is right here and organized. So as you scale and grow, anyone can find the information they need. It's not in some folder somewhere. It's not on someone's desk on a sticky note or in some spreadsheet. It's all right here, which as you scale makes it so much easier to stay organized. Now, also over here, we have something called resources. If you haven't used this yet, this is a huge, huge value add for staying organized. Not everything can be stored in Financial Sense, right? Or maybe you use other apps that are involved in the monthly bookkeeping project. You can easily link to those external resources here. So for example, maybe you do want to continue to store your documents in SmartVault. You can add that as a resource. Then you can add, or maybe, yeah, SmartVault, and then hit save. Or maybe you do Google Drive, right? You can add that Google Drive. I should just stick to SmartVault. We'll stick to SmartVault. So now when your team's working, they can access those internal document apps or other information by clicking that link and opening it up, and it takes you to that system. So there's so many different ways to stay organized, but when it comes to work-related information, it's all right here. Now, we also talked about it's not just work-related information, right? It's client information too. You need to be able to access both types of information. Client information is agnostic to the projects, right? It could be contact information for that client, meeting notes. It could be entity information or other types of important documents, right? So how do you quickly access that in a single click? Inside Financial Sense, we integrate the two work and client information systems together so you can have that single source of truth and your team can quickly access that information. So inside it, you'll see these two resources. This comes with every project. You can see client details and client documents. So maybe I want to see more client information. Maybe I need the contact information, entity info. I can click this and it takes me to my client's profile. This is where you store all your client's information in a single view so your team can quickly access it and you can stay organized at scale. It's like your Rolodex, right? Here in the client's profile, I have a dashboard where I can quickly view all that information. I can see contact information, custom fields like entity type, marketing source, EIN numbers, relationships with other clients, what groups they're in, payroll clients, monthly bookkeeping clients, meeting notes, upcoming work, documents, recent requests, all that information in a single view. So I'm going to walk you through some of these, right? So contacts, right? This is where you can store client contact information. You can add as many contacts as you want, phone numbers, mobile numbers, addresses, and other information. You can have multiple contacts. You can edit and delete them. Here you can set up custom fields. If you don't use this, I highly recommend it. This is completely customizable in the About section. So as you can see here, I have entity type, formation date, EIN numbers, marketing source or contract renewal dates. You can put birthdays. And if you click edit, you can see I have all these fields. You can create as many fields as you want by hitting manage fields. You can add in anniversaries, birthdays, whatever you may need to know, and then create it. And then once, as you can see, not all the fields will show, right? Only the fields with information. So client ID, if I put in a number here, it's not over here right now, but when I hit save, that is now going to be displayed on the view. One thing to note is if you add a client field, it will be added to all clients, but it won't be displayed on all clients unless it has information in it. So this is essential for adding this type of custom information that you want your team to see. Here we have relationships, so you can easily establish relationships between other clients in your firm. So maybe they're a business partner, maybe it's a father, son, brother. You can easily click the name and then access that client's profile and then get back and switch between the two. You have client groups. Here you have emails. So emails is a vital feature. This is different from your inbox, right? Your inbox shows all your emails across the firm, or all your personal emails, just like your Gmail or Outlook inbox, right? And you can respond to clients, you can pin it to work and organize it. But if we go back to the client, this tab shows every conversation between anyone on your team and that client. So if anyone at your firm emails the client or receives an email from a client, you'll have an audit trail of all client communications. This helps you stay on top of who spoke to the client last and what about. And if something goes wrong, you can see what happened 6 months ago. You can see, did Jonathan send him those documents? Did he get that information? And view it all here. Here you have your activity feed. This is where you can log activities, you can log meetings, calls, client attitude, just stay on when they were last talked to and were they in a good mood. You have notes. This is where you can store meeting notes or other types of important information. So it's easy to add a note. You can add a note, meeting, let's say like 316. This is what we talked about. You can format it in bullets and all this other types of information. If you have an important note, you can easily pin it to the top of the work. And you can tag people in it if you want people on your team to see that note. You can also store documents. This is huge. So we're still building on this. We're adding more functionality, but now in Financial Sense, you can organize your documents on the client's profile. So for example, you have a lot of bookkeeping documents. You can create folders and organize those folders. So I created bookkeeping, entity documents, other documents, and tax documents. If I click in, you can see I have a folder for each month, and in each month I have the profit and loss and other bookkeeping documents. You can easily organize all your documents so your team can quickly access that information that they need. We have unlimited document storage. And what's really cool is, let's say I like this bookkeeping documents folder structure. I've got bookkeeping documents in all the months. I can take that and copy that to all my other clients if I want to have that same folder structure. So you can quickly set up those folders and start organizing your documents in one place. The key here is it's not just a document management system, right? It's a client database. It's everything your team needs: contact information, custom fields, email conversations, documents, which having one place makes it a lot easier for your team to stay on top of where they need to go. There's no question of where do I go for documents? Where do I go for meeting notes? Where do I go to see this information? It's all in one place. It's a single source of truth for everything in your firm. This next one's really big. It's the client vault. So staying on top of passwords and usernames for your clients is tough. And also sharing that information with your team is even tougher in a secure way. So you can store all the login information and passwords and security codes to your apps inside Financial Sense securely and encrypted in the encrypted client vault. So here you can see all your apps, you can view the apps, you can see the usernames and passwords. They can launch the app directly from Financial Sense. And you could even add your security questions. It's very easy. You'd click add new encrypted record, add the name, username, password, link, and then here's where you add the security codes. So this is great. You know, it's better than storing it in spreadsheets, which is not as secure, but it's also in the cloud. So anyone, your team can access this information, access the apps they need to get their work done in a matter of seconds. And here you can track your outstanding client requests for that client. So everything you need is right here, right? From a client level. And what's cool again is that it's integrated. Like we talked about, it's not okay to just have a place where the work happens and a place where the client information happens. It needs to be integrated. So if you click this, you can get back to the work. Let's say you need those client documents, click this, opens client documents, right? So your team can access the information they need to get their work done. Or they go back to the work and maybe they just need to see some client contact information and entity info. Again, they click it. It's very easy, very seamless. Everything they need is one click away, from conversations, from documents, from just basic client info, to emails, everything you need. So that in a nutshell is how you can keep everything organized. Now, there is one other thing I want to show you. So we talked about, you know, the work and the profile, but also we have a client database. If you click the clients tab, here you can view all your clients. You can see all your clients, the contacts, the emails, phone information, entity info, and you can customize this database to show the information that you want to show. So if I click here on this customized dashboard icon, you can see all my options, which is based on my custom fields. So I can see all my custom fields from the about section. I can choose, maybe I want to display a website, maybe I don't. Maybe I want to show what invoicing system we use for them, and I can save those settings. And you can change the order of this too by going into the client and customizing the order of your managed fields. So it's going to be based off your custom fields is going to be based off that. So when you manage the fields, if I rearrange entity type, it's going to update it on that dashboard. So that is great. Like this gives you a very holistic view of all your clients and the most important information. So you can filter by it too. You can say, I want to see all my LLCs, right? And I'll display them. Or maybe I want to see, you know, all my clients that came to me from word of mouth, right? You can filter by team member to see which team members are assigned to clients and all that information. You can filter by group. I want to see all my payroll clients and their information, right? So you have all these filters to drill down into your dashboard and really have that database. And when you click in, that's where you get the details, right? You say, maybe you want to see more information, whether it's from the work or from that view, you can get to the client's profile. And having everything so accessible and so well organized and in all in one place helps your team stay on top of things. It keeps your firm organized so your team can actually get work done. So that in a nutshell is how you can use Financial Sense to keep your firm organized as you grow and scale, as you start to outgrow these spreadsheets, these sticky notes, the Word documents, all these segmented systems and these 10 different apps that you're using to keep everything organized. I'm going to open the floor to any questions. I'm going to go and read through some of them now. If you have any, drop them in the chat, drop them in the Q&A. So let's see. The resources section is very popular. If you haven't started using it, I highly recommend it. There's a lot of really cool updates coming to that as well. So if you're not using it, definitely recommend it. So we don't necessarily have an integration with Dropbox yet. We plan to integrate with other DMS systems. We will have our own version of Dropbox, which we would highly recommend you use because it's going to be better integrated. But we also do plan to integrate with other DMS or document management systems. So you have the option to choose, right? We don't want to force you to use ours. We want to work with everything. Our goal is to have Financial Sense as the hub, right? That single source of truth. The one place that your team goes to access everything they need. So whether you're storing those documents inside Financial Sense or not, even if you're not, you can still access the system from inside Financial Sense that you are storing them. So if you are using Google Drive, if you are using Dropbox, whatever you're using, Smart Vault, you could still access those documents from within FC by us integrating with them. Because again, the productivity comes from having that single source of truth, that one place. But if again, that could also be done in the resources. You could link manually right now while we don't have a native integration. You could add the Dropbox link in the resources like I did with Smart Vault. I think it's files and move them. Yeah, with the Smart Vault integration that we're working on right now, it's going to make that a lot easier. Right now, you'd have to open up Smart Vault, but soon all those files, Smart Vault files, would be displayed in here as well, and you can access that information. I'll be sure to send a recording of this video out. Custom fields. So someone asked about how you add custom fields for each client. You don't have to add it for each client. If you add a custom field on one client, it's going to add it to all your clients. But don't worry, it won't display on the client unless there's information for that. So like, for example, if I added, like I have all these fields are for all my clients right now. And you can add a field by going to manage fields and adding one here. But client ID, I don't have any information, so it's not being displayed. So that's how that works. And that keeps, you know, your client database more consistent. It's not so different from client to client. It's the same fields. We do have some firms that do use Financial Sense to track leads and prospects. Now, we're not going to be a CRM. If you need something robust, I'd recommend finding a CRM like HubSpot, or there's a lot of really great CRMs out there. But if you wanted to track your leads in Financial Sense, you could. We have an article on this actually, but and you should have a template that links to that article and tracks that process called like lead tracking. Yeah, you should have that by default in your account. But what people typically do is they'll create a client group called prospects or leads, right? And then you can manually add clients to that. And so when you do that, you can filter by that client group and see those prospects. And then on your workflow, if you have a funnel or a sales pipeline you like to track, you can filter by that group, leads, and then see, in this situation, is because I don't have it set up, you would see the lead tracking projects, and like you see how far they are into the funnel. But there's more about that in that. If you go to that template, lead tracking, it links to an article, show you how to set that up. We do track time in our system, and then we have hourly billing. But you can also track fixed fee, and that would be in the client's profile. So if you go to the client's profile on the activity feed, you can set up your fixed fees by going to billing. So you could say, I bill this client $1,000 every month. And then every month it will record that fixed fee billing. And what's great about that is if you do bill on a fixed fee, we have a report called the effective hourly rate, where you can track how much you're making per client on an hourly basis. So even though you're billing them $1,000 a month, if you're working 20 hours a month on that client, you're really only making $50 an hour. And that helps you identify which clients you need to renegotiate and improve your rates. This looks really good because it's fake data, but obviously you wouldn't be making, maybe you are making $2,000 an hour, but usually firms want to shoot for $100, $150 an hour. So yes, we have a QuickBooks Online integration. And if you track time in our system or track time hourly with billing rates, it will automatically import over to QBO within seconds so you can bill off that time. Also, our QB integration helps you import all your clients and your clients' information. So let's say you're wanting to use Financial Sense to organize your firm. You can import all your clients from QBO and their contact information in seconds. So it makes it very easy to get started. So let me see if there's other Q&A. So in the custom fields, we don't have the ability to have like certain fields like date or time or phone number, but we are working on adding that. But right now it's a free field. So you can record dates, you can record phone numbers, but you can't have like a specifically segmented for that. You can run reports on the about fields. So obviously you can easily filter for the about fields if you have them on this dashboard. So if you could filter for like referral, because that's one of my marketing resource custom fields. However, if you export this data from here into Excel, you'll see all your clients and all the fields, and you can run pivot tables in Excel based off that data. Okay, that looks like I've answered all the questions. Let's see, is there any other questions? Zapier integration, that's a good point. So one thing about having a single source of truth is when you update that information in our system, it updates it in all your other systems, right? So you update a client's contact information in Financial Sense, it'll update it in QuickBooks Online, it'll update your tax system, it'll update it in all the systems that you use. So to help do this, we are creating integrations, right? That's a big part of it. We want to be the hub where everything happens, but we also are working on a Zapier integration. That is coming next quarter. So the goal is to be releasing it in the next 2 to 3 months. And it's going to really help you update all that client information and have one consistent client database. But it's also going to do a lot of other great things and give you more automation. So maybe, for example, a client signs an engagement letter. When they sign that, it's automatically going to create that client in Financial Sense, and it's going to create all the work for that client and assign it to the right team members. So there's a lot of really amazing things happening with that Zapier integration that's going to help automate your firm, increase productivity, but also keep your client database intact, consistent, and organized. Okay. Let's see. Any last minute questions? So with our email integration, it integrates with Outlook and Gmail. It's the exact same thing as having your Outlook, your personal Outlook or Gmail inbox inside Financial Sense. So if you get emails from an accountant or someone else, you'll be able to see all those emails. By default, we only show client-related emails, right? Client emails. We do this because we have all your clients' emails in our database, and we can create that focus folder. But if you want to see all emails from other people that aren't clients, you can click all emails here. And that's how you can view that information. Okay. Well, I hope this was a great webinar showing you how you can better use Financial Sense to organize your firm. We have this recording, so I'm going to be sending this out. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our customer support team. We try to be responsive and get back to answer your questions. And if you have any ideas on how we can improve the product, how we can help your firm stay more organized, share that as well, because we're constantly improving the product. Okay, everyone, thanks for your time and take care.